was 16 when I graduated high school, and I already had 2 children at that time. So my mom just kind of decided it was time for me to go. There was a lot of friction, so I had to move in with my friend. And after being there for a while, and of course, anybody would be ready for you to kind of just go. So it was just time for me to leave. And I just started calling different places, different numbers, and Miss Michelle from Some answered, and she just told me how they had an open house. And there was history from there. So leaving in my own place for the very first night, it was stressful. I was scared. I slept in the living room on the floor with my backpack full of clothes as a pillow because I just didn't know. It was just overwhelming. Being handed keys and saying, go live. It's like, what do you do? Family services here, they do a lot of different things. They're the ones that kind of told me like, okay, you're on public assistance. There's more out here than being on public assistance. And they kind of just hooked me up with different avenues to look for a job. Like I had to go through a training program, which was a requirement. You have to do something. You can't just be here and not do anything. So they just told me like, hey, you can go here, here, or here. This are the benefits. This is how you can get into them. They helped me call people. And once I got into a program, they would say, okay, now what's the next step for you? The way I ended up getting employed was I started off at OIC DC, and at the end they have job placement. I was able to do some just kind of internships for a while. So after being there for about, I would say 2 years, the acting dean had a position open for a staff assistant, and I applied and I was hired. I'm definitely trying to get my bachelor's in human resources. It's very hard sometimes, but I always say I will never stop. I don't always want to need assistance from anyone. I want to be able to do it by myself. The hardest thing about being a single mother and a student is just spending time with your children. It's the hardest part. You have to think about what your next goal is, what your next step is. You have to think about your children. What do you want for them? I'm definitely proud of myself because when I look back, I'm like, I did it. I always said I was gonna take off, and that's exactly what I did.